Welcome to Quick Reads for Success, your destination for timeless wisdom, powerful money lessons, and books that can transform your financial future. Today we are diving into one of the most legendary books ever written, The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason. For nearly a century, this book has inspired millions with its simple but powerful parables that reveal the universal laws of money. And here's the thing, these lessons are not complicated theories. They are straightforward principles that anyone, no matter their income or background, can use to build wealth and financial security. So stay with me until the very end of this video, because what you'll learn today are not just old stories from ancient Babylon, but practical steps you can apply right now to change your financial destiny. Let me ask you something. Why is it that some people always seem to have money, to grow their wealth, to live stress-free, while others, no matter how much they earn, always live paycheck to paycheck? Is it luck? Is it privilege? The Richest Man in Babylon answers this question with timeless wisdom. Wealth is not an accident. It is the result of discipline, knowledge, and the application of a few universal laws. And the very first of those laws begins with a man named Arkad, known as the richest man in Babylon. The story begins with two men, Bansur the chariot maker and Kabi the musician. Despite years of hard work, they find themselves broke, frustrated, and trapped in the same cycle many of us face today. Work, earn, spend, repeat, with nothing left at the end. One day, as they sit and complain about their situation, they notice Arkad, their old childhood friend, now one of the wealthiest men in the city. Curious, they wonder how he managed to become so rich while they, too, worked tirelessly but remained poor. They decide to approach Arkad and ask for his secret. Arkad smiles and tells them that he was not born wealthy. He began as a poor scribe, writing tablets for a living. His turning point came when a wealthy man gave him a piece of advice that changed his life forever. A part of all you earn is yours to keep. At first, Arkad didn't fully understand. He thought all his earnings were his. But then he realized the truth. Most people spend all they earn on food, rent, clothing, or pleasures. They keep nothing for themselves. The lesson was simple but profound. Save at least 10% of everything you earn. If you earn 10 coins, keep 1. If you earn 100, keep 10. That money is yours to keep forever, not to be spent on daily expenses. Arkad began following this principle, and over time, his savings grew. Those savings became investments, and those investments multiplied. Slowly but surely, he built wealth. This was the first rule of wealth. Pay yourself first. And think about how powerful that is. Most people pay everyone else first, landlords, shops, taxes, and leave nothing for themselves. But Arkad flipped the order. He said, before you pay anyone else, pay yourself. Save first, spend later. This is where the book introduces one of its most famous teachings, the 7 cures for a lean purse. When the king asked Arkad to teach the people of Babylon how to grow wealth, Arkad revealed these 7 timeless cures that anyone could follow. The first cure was exactly what he had practiced: start thy purse to fattening. In simple terms, save at least 10% of all your income. Imagine if you did that today. If you earned $1,000, you'd save $100. If you earned $5,000, you'd save $500. The point isn't how much you save, it's that you consistently set aside a portion. Over time, this money becomes a foundation for investments and wealth. Without savings, there can be no investment. Without investment, there can be no riches. This was the first cure, and it was the foundation upon which all the others were built. After teaching the first cure, Arkad moved on to the second. He called it control thy expenditures. Many people argue that they can't save because their expenses are too high. But Arkad explained that expenses always rise to meet income unless you control them. The truth is, people often confuse desires with necessities. We believe we need many things when in reality they are only wants. The second cure teaches us to live below our means. If you earn 10 coins, learn to live comfortably on 9. This discipline is the key that separates the wealthy from the poor. Without control, money slips through our fingers like water. Arkad advised making a budget, one that allows you to enjoy life while still saving and planning for the future. The third cure was to make thy gold multiply. Saving is only the beginning. Money must work for you. Arkad compared savings to an army of slaves. If you put them to work wisely, they will earn more for you. For example, if you invest your savings in a safe and profitable venture, they will produce children, and those children will also work for you. This is the principle of compound interest, your money making more money. Imagine saving $1,000 and investing it at 10% a year. Soon, your money grows not because you worked harder, but because your money is working for you. The lesson is clear: don't just save, invest wisely, and let your wealth multiply. The fourth cure was guard thy treasures from loss. Arkad warned that many people lose their savings by chasing quick riches, falling for risky schemes, or trusting inexperienced advice. Instead, he advised seeking wisdom before investing. Only put money into ventures where your principal is safe, and where you can be sure of a fair return. If you hand your money to fools or gamble it away, you will soon be broke again. This principle is timeless. Avoid get-rich-quick schemes, avoid promises of unrealistic returns, and always protect your hard-earned savings. Wealth grows slowly and steadily, not through reckless risks. The fifth cure was make of thy dwelling a profitable investment. Arkad explained that renting forever makes a man poor. He encouraged people to own their homes, for a home provides stability, pride, and long-term savings compared to endless rent payments. But more than just owning a home, he advised ensuring that it was purchased wisely and within one's means. Today, this lesson extends to building assets that serve us in the long run: property, businesses, or investments that reduce costs and increase security. The sixth cure was ensure a future income. Arkad reminded the people that youth and strength fade, and one day everyone grows old or faces misfortune. Wise men prepare for that day by building an income stream that continues even when they can no longer work. This is what we now call retirement planning, insurance, or passive income. It's about creating security so that no matter what happens in life, your family and future are protected. And finally, the seventh cure was increase thy ability to earn. Arkad stressed that a man's best investment is in himself. By improving skills, gaining knowledge, and becoming more valuable in the marketplace, you increase your earning power. He explained that no matter how much money one earns, there is always room to earn more by becoming wiser and more skilled. In modern times, this means continuous learning, reading, networking, and upgrading your abilities. These 7 cures formed the foundation of Babylon's wealth and became the cornerstone of the book. Together, they remind us that building riches is not a mystery. Save consistently, control expenses, invest wisely, protect your money, own valuable assets, prepare for the future, and keep learning. Anyone who follows these steps, no matter how little they start with, can eventually achieve financial independence. But Arkad did not stop with the cures. He also spoke of the 5 laws of gold, which he said were even more powerful. These laws explained not just how to save, but how wealth flows and multiplies. He declared, "Gold cometh gladly and in increasing quantity to any man who puts by not less than 1/10 of his earnings to create an estate for his future and that of his family." In other words, the first law of gold is that money rewards discipline. Save consistently, and wealth will grow. The second law said, "Gold laboureth diligently and contentedly for the wise owner who finds for it profitable employment." Money works for those who invest it wisely. The third law said, "Gold clingeth to the protection of the cautious owner who invests it under the advice of men wise in its handling." This means seek expert guidance and avoid reckless risks. The fourth law warned, "Gold slippeth away from the man who invests it in businesses or purposes with which he is not familiar." Don't invest in things you don't understand. And the fifth law declared, "Gold flees the man who would force it to impossible earnings, or who follows the advice of tricksters and schemers." In short, avoid greed, avoid scams, and remember that slow, steady growth is the true path to riches. Through these stories, The Richest Man in Babylon teaches us not only the mechanics of money, but the mindset of wealth. It reminds us that financial freedom isn't about luck, inheritance, or high income. It's about discipline, self-control, and applying timeless principles that never fail. The people of Babylon who followed these rules prospered. Those who ignored them lived in poverty. The same is true today. These laws are as relevant now as they were thousands of years ago. One of the most powerful parables in The Richest Man in Babylon is the story of the gold lender of Babylon. It begins with a young man named Rodden, who was given 50 pieces of gold as a gift from the king for his service in battle. Suddenly, he found himself with more money than he had ever owned before. But here's the interesting part: instead of feeling free and joyful, he felt anxious. Because with wealth came requests from family and friends, each wanting him to lend or give money for their own needs. Unsure what to do, Rodden sought advice from a moneylender named Mathan, who was known for his wisdom. Mathan explained that gold, like a faithful slave, works best when guided wisely, but if placed in the hands of the inexperienced, it will quickly vanish. He taught Rodden to only lend money when there is reasonable assurance of repayment, such as when a borrower has the means or skill to generate income. He warned against lending based on emotion or sympathy alone. The lesson is clear: generosity is noble, but foolish lending or investing destroys wealth. Protect your money, and only part with it under conditions that ensure its safe return. Another timeless story is the walls of Babylon. This parable explains how Babylon, one of the richest cities of its time, remained secure despite countless attacks from enemies. Why? Because its walls were strong, well-built, and prepared for any invasion. The message is simple yet profound. Just as a city needs strong walls for protection, every person must build financial defenses to protect against life's unexpected events. Emergencies, job loss, illness, or disasters, these are the enemies that can strike at any time. Without savings or protection, people are left vulnerable. But those who build strong financial walls, an emergency fund, insurance, and prudent planning, can withstand any storm. The parable reminds us that wealth is not just about growth, but also about safety. Then there is the parable of the Camel Trader of Babylon. It tells of a man named Arkad, who found himself hungry, broke, and ashamed because of his debts. He owed many people in the city, and none would lend him more, for his reputation was ruined. Desperate, he encountered Dabasir, a camel trader, who shared his own story of being once a slave because of debt. Dabasir explained that freedom comes not from begging or luck, but from taking responsibility. He outlined a simple but powerful plan. First, pay yourself 1/10 of all you earn, as Arkad had taught. Second, use 2/10 to repay your debts, fairly and consistently. And finally, live on the remaining 7/10. Over time, the debts will vanish, savings will grow, and freedom will return. This parable highlights one of the most practical lessons in the entire book. The path out of debt is discipline, honesty, and a structured repayment plan. Another meaningful lesson comes from the story of the goddess of good luck. In Babylon, many men believed that wealth came through luck, by chance or by the favor of the gods. But Arkad challenged this belief. He argued that luck comes to those who act, not those who wait. A man who sits idle hoping for fortune will find nothing, but one who prepares, saves, and invests will discover opportunities that others call luck. Arkad explained that opportunity is a goddess who favors action. She does not wait for those who delay. In modern words, success is not luck, it is preparation meeting opportunity. If you are disciplined with money, when chances arise, you will be ready to seize them. Then there is the story of the clay tablets from Babylon. This parable is written as a record discovered by a professor, who translates the notes of Dabasir, the camel trader. In these writings, Dabasir details his journey from slavery to financial freedom, explaining how he faithfully followed the plan of saving 1/10, paying debts with 2/10, and living on 7/10. His records prove that the principles of wealth are practical and achievable. They are not theories, but real steps anyone can follow to rebuild their life, no matter how desperate their situation. The inclusion of this story emphasizes that wealth principles are universal, and history has preserved these lessons for us to learn. Another great parable is the luckiest man in Babylon. This story is about Sharonada, a wealthy merchant, who recalls his youth as a slave. Through honesty, hard work, and persistence, he eventually earned his freedom and became rich. The The lesson here is that character and integrity are as important as financial skills. Wealth built on lies or dishonesty is fragile, but wealth built on trust and reputation endures. The parable teaches that success is not only about money, but also about the values that sustain it. Taken together, all these parables from the richest man in Babylon deliver one unified message. Wealth is built through discipline, consistency, protection, and responsibility. Save at least 10% of all you earn. Live below your means. Invest wisely. Protect your money from loss. Own assets that provide value. Prepare for the future. Grow your skills. Pay off debts responsibly. And always act with integrity. These lessons may sound simple, but they are eternal. From ancient Babylon to the modern world, they remain true. The book's genius lies in teaching through stories that capture the imagination and remind us that wealth is not about complicated strategies, it's about timeless habits. If you are still watching this video until now, it tells me something very important about you. It tells me that you are serious about your financial future. You are not like the majority who hear a lesson, nod their heads, and forget it the next day. You are here, still listening because deep down, you want to grow, you want to succeed, and you want to change your life. And I respect that. So if you're truly serious about learning timeless lessons and becoming the best version of yourself, then I ask you to do two simple things right now. First, hit that like button. It motivates me to bring more life-changing videos to you. And second, subscribe to this channel, Quick Reads for Success, because together we are building a community of people who refuse to settle for mediocrity and who are determined to live wealthy, purposeful, and successful lives. Now, let's continue with the powerful lessons from the richest man in Babylon, and how they apply directly to your life today. When we take the wisdom of Babylon and place it in today's world, something amazing happens. We realize that money hasn't changed. Human desires, mistakes, and opportunities are the same now as they were thousands of years ago. For example, the principle of paying yourself first can be applied by setting up an automatic savings account where 10% of your paycheck is deposited before you even see it. This simple action guarantees that you are building wealth month after month without relying on willpower alone. The second lesson, controlling expenses, applies even more today because we live in a world of endless temptations. Streaming subscriptions, online shopping, luxury gadgets, and lifestyle upgrades constantly pressure us to spend more. The Babylonian wisdom teaches us that just because you can buy something doesn't mean you should. Learning to distinguish between needs and wants, and disciplining yourself to live below your means, is still the most powerful way to grow wealth in modern times. The third lesson, making your gold multiply, is exactly what we call investing today. Your savings should not just sit idle in a box or a bank account with no growth. Put your money into assets that produce returns, stocks, bonds, real estate, businesses, or any investment you understand and trust. And just like Arkad advised, make sure your investments are safe, consistent, and guided by the advice of people who have proven wisdom. The fourth lesson, guarding against loss, is almost more important in today's world because of the endless scams and risky opportunities that surround us. From promises of overnight crypto riches to shady business deals, the traps are everywhere. The richest man in Babylon reminds us that if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Wealth grows slowly, steadily, and securely. There is no shortcut. Protect your money as carefully as you would protect your family, because once it's lost, it is not easily regained. The fifth lesson, making your dwelling a profitable investment, is more relevant today than ever. While renting may sometimes be practical in certain stages of life, the long-term goal should be ownership. Owning your home not only gives you stability, but also builds equity over time. And in a broader sense, the lesson can be extended to building assets, things you own that generate value instead of draining your income. The sixth lesson, ensuring a future income, translates into building retirement plans, setting up multiple streams of income, and preparing for the unexpected. Whether through pensions, investments, side businesses, or passive income, the goal is the same as it was in Babylon: security. The wise man does not rely on one source of income or hope that life will always remain stable. He prepares for the storms before they arrive. The seventh and final lesson, increasing your ability to earn, is perhaps the most empowering of all. Your skills, your knowledge, and your mindset are your greatest assets. Invest in yourself, read, learn, and practice. In today's world of rapid change, those who continuously upgrade themselves are the ones who thrive. Whether you learn new digital skills, improve your communication, or expand your expertise, you make yourself more valuable. And the more valuable you become, the greater your earning power. This is why the wisdom of Babylon is not just ancient history. It is a blueprint for modern success. It reminds us that the rules of wealth are eternal. Technology may change, currencies may change, but the principles remain the same. Save consistently, live below your means, invest wisely, protect against loss, own assets, plan for the future, and grow your skills. Follow these, and wealth will follow you. Ignore them, and no income in the world will ever be enough. So what do we learn when we look back at the wisdom of the richest man in Babylon? We learn that money is not a mystery, nor is wealth reserved for a chosen few. The road to financial freedom is not paved with secrets hidden away from ordinary people. Instead, it is built upon discipline, simple daily choices, and the courage to take control of your financial life. Arkad, the richest man in Babylon, was not born rich. He began as a humble scribe, but by following these rules he became wealthy, respected, and free. And if he could do it thousands of years ago, so can you today. Remember the 7 cures for a lean purse. Save at least 1/10 of all you earn, control your expenses so you always live below your means, invest wisely so your gold multiplies, protect your money from foolish risks, own your home or build valuable assets, prepare for the future with income that lasts beyond your working years, and never stop improving yourself. Remember also the 5 laws of gold. Money comes gladly to those who save, it grows when invested wisely, it clings to those who protect it carefully, it disappears when given to the unwise, and it flees from those who chase impossible promises. These are not just ancient sayings. They are universal truths. If you live by them, wealth will find you. If you ignore them, poverty will follow no matter how much you earn. And perhaps the most beautiful lesson of all is this: wealth is not about greed or selfishness. It is about freedom. Freedom to live without fear, freedom to provide for your family, freedom to give generously, and freedom to pursue your dreams. Babylon became the richest city of the ancient world because its people practiced these very principles. You can become the richest person in your own life if you do the same. So my question to you is this: will you continue to let money slip through your fingers, or will you take control starting today? Will you be like Bansir and Kabi, working hard but never having enough? Or will you be like Arkad, who chose discipline and wisdom, and built a fortune that outlived him? The choice is yours, and it begins the moment you decide to pay yourself first, to live with discipline, and to let your money work for you. Now, before we close, I want to remind you again, if you've watched this far, it means you are serious about your growth. So take one small action today that will help secure your financial freedom, and take one small action here on this channel that helps us grow together. Hit that like button right now, and subscribe to Quick Reads for Success, because here we explore the greatest books, the timeless lessons, and the strategies that can transform your life. This is not the end, my friend. This is only the beginning of your financial journey. The ancient walls of Babylon may have crumbled long ago, but its wisdom lives on, and today, you carry it with you. Apply these lessons, live by these principles, and you too will discover that wealth is not a dream, but a destiny waiting to be claimed. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay disciplined, stay hungry for wisdom, and never stop building your success. This is Quick Reads for Success, and I'll see you in the next video.